Are you ready? Can Crushers. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Gotta shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody, power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah, Can Crushers. Yeah, Can Crushers. Let's go.
This is the fashionista of professional wrestling, Calvin Couture. And I'm glad you're listening to me, but I don't really know why you're listening to this podcast, but whatever, they paid me a lot to say this. So enjoy Can Crushers, I guess.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another Can Crushers Wrestling podcast, and my old friend Calvin Couture rolling back around, still thinking he's picking up checks because I'm paying him. Well, Calvin, this isn't your show. This show is going to be dedicated to the shining light of professional wrestling, Catie Brite. Guys, we have a story that you'll hear during the podcast. I follow Catie from her very first match in IWC. It was a hockey arena. I could butcher the name, and hopefully I can get the right name from Catie during the podcast. And I'm not even sure that she knew that I was a cameraman in her first match. You know? I don't know. We'll throw this around. We'll talk. But all of that. I'm super excited to follow Catie more so into her career to see what she's doing. She's looking to go after championships in a couple different federations right now. She's been screwed over in a couple different federations. But yeah, Catie Brite should be a champion, if not by the end of 2023, definitely in 2024. So yeah, that's the way I'm going to start off this podcast. The Spotlight Edition. Hello, my name is Mark the Mark Martinez, and you're listening to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Guys, super excited for this one. But of course, we know you have to pay the bills first. So let's get that out of the way because Catie is holding on the line right now so we can talk about her transition into wrestling and kicking ass and taking names. Of course, we have to tell you about Collar and Elbow. Hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool stuff that else known as hooligans have over at Collar and Elbow. I don't know if you'd get it by Christmas now, but maybe by New Year's. Go out and buy some shirts, buy some hats, buy some hoodies. It's amazing material. It's awesome. I love wearing Collar and Elbow. Wear it pretty damn close to every day of the week. I live in wrestling stuff, and Collar and Elbow, not only being a sponsor, but is just, I love all the shirts. Dusty Rhodes to the Macho Man inspired one, to Animals, legendary one, Shad Gaspar, all of those. They're really cool. Check out Collar and Elbow. Our promo code, Can Crushers. It'll save you 10%. We also have the WWE affiliate code. Again, we're very transparent on here. We'll tell you, sometimes you'll get a discount, sometimes you won't. But you will help support Can Crushers. So if you're going to buy, again, I don't think you're going to get it by Christmas, but if you're going to buy presents for anybody, a shirt for yourself or whatever, just use our affiliate code in our show notes and you'll be able to help support Can Crushers along the way. Where do you listen? You're probably listening on your favorite app right now or whatever, but we're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Alexa, all of the ones. But we've also transitioned over to Podurama, which is really cool because it's seamless. Wherever you pause it on your phone, pick it up on your laptop, pick it up on your Alexa, pick it up on your normal computer, whatever. Besides gaming, did a lot of people have normal computers anymore? I don't know. Nonetheless, it is seamless. It just transitions, boom, 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 right where you pause, right where you picked up, and we're right along next to JR Jericho and, of course, Busted Open, so you can find us right easy like that. And right now, if you sign up for a lifetime membership, you get 50% off, so that's pretty cool. Reach out on our Facebook, Instagram, X, even Threads. Threads is rough, but reach out. If you'd love to be part of the show, tell your story, tell your spotlight. reach out to us on any of the DMs that I just mentioned, or send us an email at cancrusher69@gmail.com. So, yeah, that's all the cool stuff we have to talk about. Here comes Al Snow to tell you more about Collar and Elbow. We're going to slide right in to the shining light of professional wrestling, Catie Brite.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
This is Megan Myers, and you're listening to the Can Crushers podcast.
Welcome back, Can Crusher fans. You heard how excited I was to have this guest coming on. I've known her from match one. Well, not known her, I guess, but I've watched her from match one. She is a shining star of professional wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, Catie Brite. Catie, how are you today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good. Before we get into everything wrestling, listen, we know you're a busy young lady. Have you done your Christmas shopping yet, though?
Mostly, actually.
Yeah, are you a planner like ahead of time, like you starting in August and everything?
I do like to plan, but maybe not as far back as August.
Oh, that's good. School as well, got a lot going on there. I know just because it's craziness. Congratulations, you got everything done in that aspect too. Good for you, kid.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, let's do the rewind because it's a wrestling show and we don't really care about your Christmas presents. I'm kidding. But we want to know about wrestling. So, who introduced you to professional wrestling as a little bright star? You know, mom, dad, Uncle Joe, Aunt Sally. How did you find this craziness?
So it was actually my brother that wanted to start watching it. So whenever we were in elementary school, so he put it on, and then I was in the room with him, and I saw AJ Lee, and like that was it.
Let me tell you, I have you pegged already then. I know. Listen, Katie's been a listener from a long time and now transitioned into wrestling, a guest. She knows I do a comparison here in a little bit, and as soon as you just said that one person, I'm like, poop, I have the comparison nailed. So yes, I'm excited about that. And we'll get there in a minute. So you and your brother watching, what was the first like real memory that, big match that you remember?
The first big show I remember watching was the 1000th episode of Raw.
Okay.
So
This is a good one. Wow, you're dating me. Nonetheless, other than AJ, some of your favorites growing up?
Dolph Ziggler, Paige, Alexa Bliss, like those are pretty solid ones, like Becky Lynch.
I'm telling you, I have you pegged perfectly. This is awesome. I don't know if I've ever been this excited before about having somebody. So you watch them. Mom and dad big into wrestling too. Did you and your brother get, the family hooked, or was it just you two hiding in, a closet watching or whatever?
Well, actually, before we were born, my parents would watch wrestling. So then whenever my brother wanted to start watching it, they were kind of reintroduced to it and started watching it again with us.
So they had taken some time off, but they're like all in. They're fans, so they're probably huge supporters of you as well. And we'll get to that story, but yeah, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you progressed to get to professional wrestling then. What sports did you do? Or were you kind of like me, the drama kid or anything? Because drama links to wrestling too.
Honestly, both.
Yeah.
I did a lot of sports, like you name them, I probably did them. I played softball, basketball, volleyball, I ran track. I was in all the musicals at the same time.
Because
So-
it sets you up right off the bat. Wrestling is, and we said this on many shows, it's a soap opera. It really is. It's just got hard-hitting soap opera, right?
Yeah. I would say one of those sports, I played basketball, and I actually played with my brother in elementary school, like league, because they needed people to play. So that's kind of, I was always like with the guys. So it was even more of like an intro to this.
So are you saying, and you can backhand me the next time you see me, were you tomboyish then, that you were just always hanging out with brother and everybody else?
Oh yeah, I was, for sure. No, it's not.
Well, you know what I mean. Some people get mad about that. You know, I'm a tomboy. I just like playing sports. But you understand. Well, listen, we're both from Pennsylvania, right? We go back and forth. We understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know what you meant. It was a little bit of both, but I definitely was like, yeah, I'm more tomboyish because I'm play all these sports and I hang out with the guys.
Did you ever think about wrestling in like high school or anything?
I did, but my parents did not want me to do that.
Okay.
And I could see why. And even my friends that were on the wrestling team, they're like, maybe you want to wait till you can like do what you actually want to do.
Yeah, I get it. It's completely different. And you may have heard this, and Can Crushers has heard this as well. Like when I signed up for JO Junior Olympic Wrestling, I was Macho Mark heading out there on the mat, and I'm like, where's the ring, and where's this, and where's that? They're like, it's not the same thing. It lasted about 2 weeks, and I'm like, this is not wrestling to me. I don't know what this is. This is guys, no disrespect to it either, but this is guys rolling around or anything. This isn't chair shots and drop kicks that I remember.
Yeah, I definitely would have had the same like response.
Nice. So we get through high school and everything. When do you know? When does that click in your head that like, I'm really doing this then?
So I started training the end of my senior year of high school.
Instantly you knew then?
I came to a couple shows at IWC before I was going to first try out, and then COVID hit, so then I had to wait a year. But as I was coming to these shows, it was the first time that I went to an indie wrestling show, and I was like, wow, this is so different than a WWE show. And it was just really cool to see. And I was like, yeah, I want to give this a shot for sure, now that I see it up close.
I love that you said that. We'll get to IWC and the Iron City Wrestling Academy and all that to put them over as well here in a minute. Plumber, thank you, and you owe me again, but that's okay. So you've never went to an independent show prior to IWC. You've always just watched WWE or Impact because AEW still wasn't there yet. We still had Wardlow and Britt in IWC, by the way, at that time.
Yeah.
How did you get to IWC? Is it, and you don't have to name names, but is it that you knew somebody there, or you just saw a poster, or just by a whim?
So I will name a name. So I had met Rosa Mendez because she actually lives in the Pittsburgh area.
Yep.
And has for a little while. So I met her, I don't remember what year, but it was like 2017 maybe. And I always ask every wrestler I meet advice. And she said, well, I went to this company and they look pretty good and I trained there with them, so you should go there. And that was my referral.
That's a hell of a referral, by the way. It really is.
Yeah.
So that answers my next question, why Iron City Wrestling Academy. But I also want you, because listen, I love this guy and I know who he is, but I want you to talk a little bit about your trainers, because no matter what, I will always say this. ICWA is probably one of the best in the country, right?
Yeah.
So your trainer was who?
Chris LaRusso.
The man, the myth, the legend of Pittsburgh, right?
Uh-huh.
He's something else. We have a love-hate relationship, but when he puts students out and he makes sure they work, can we talk a little bit about your training?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right, first day in training, Catie goes in, she's excited, I can do this. I talked to Rosa, I've been watching AJ Lee, I've been watching all these people. Talk about that first day, because I know it's a grind, right?
Yeah, I was so nervous too going in there because I didn't know if there was going to be another girl in the class,
Right.
which there ended up being one. So I was relieved when that happened. We did like warm-ups and like introductions, and one of the questions there was, how did you find this? So I had told them about how I talked to Rosa. So then I felt like people were already staring at me for that reason.
Judging you right off the bat, right?
Just be like, okay, you're full on marks. Like literally.
Going through training, week 1, week 2, was there ever a moment, because you said it yourself, you've done basketball and softball and this and that and drama. Yeah. Was there ever a moment that you're like, uh-oh, I might have gotten myself into too much?
I definitely felt like it was going really slow the first couple, even the first like couple months, it felt very slow. But I don't think there was a moment where I was like, I don't know if this is too much, like right off the bat.
Right. Never a moment that you were punching out then. You were always going to grind through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was ready to learn and try what I could because Chris was good at pushing you, but not pushing you too far.
Right. I've heard that a few times, I think. What was the hardest thing for you to get in training? Was it, because you hear the stories, was it running the ropes, the psychology? Was it the knack that, hey, you have to throw yourself down and it's not normal human being type style stuff to do? What was your hardest thing to kind of comprehend?
Like the physical stuff was pretty easy to comprehend. I think it was more of the psychology and working with somebody else in the way that pro wrestling works. It's different than everything else.
Listen, I know who was in training with you. We won't name names again, but it was giving that trust to somebody that you didn't know.
Yes.
You have to build it that day and in the ring, right? Yes,
and I did look back on it before. I was like, that was really quick that you have to be able to trust somebody.
Yeah. And that goes to now that, hey, you're booked on a card, say in April or something, and you've never worked with, Marcy Smith, so to speak. You just have to trust Marcy right off the bat because it's all in well for both of you, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear anything else about Iron City besides what Rosa told you? Had you looked around to other places prior then?
I don't think I really looked. I actually got that referral and then I reached out and asked if I could go like watch a practice. So I had gotten to talk to Chris before I started training.
Okay.
And met a couple of the people. I actually saw like Cole when he was training and met Spencer, one of the first people I met. So 2
amazing human beings in life, by the way. And if you guys are listening, you know who you are. Cole Carter and Spencer Slade. Unbelievable people. Unbelievable people. All right, so let's talk about this first match. I'm on camera working with 2-to-1 Media. It's at the hockey arena. And what is it like backstage for you? Were you stoked? Were you nervous? Were you like, oh my God, what's going on?
I was so nervous because this debut had been getting pushed back every month. So it was just like more of a weight and more pressure, it felt like, being put on me. And then about 20 minutes before you go out for the match, they're like, you're doing a promo after, right? And I was like, no, nobody told me this.
Welcome to professional wrestling.
Yeah, that's what was said next. So I was so nervous.
So did the promo add to the nerves? Because, and again, I'm not saying anything mean, but you're like, I got this. I know what I can do in the ring. I know, you were working Megan Myers. You knew what was going to happen. Did the promo really add to it that much?
It didn't, because I knew that I could talk in front of people. Like, I'm not scared to talk in front of a crowd. Right. It was just getting through the whole like process of, okay, I got to make sure I say the right thing. because there's no script for this kind of stuff.
Not at all. Not at all. Listen, as a ring announcer or commentator, you're right. There isn't. And sometimes you can't take back what you said. If you I hate the word botch, and I know you guys do too. If you botch something, and botches happen on commentating. I do it all the time. I do. I am not Joe Dombrowski, which is probably the best in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, to rewind a hot second, you tell mom, dad, brother, hey, I'm getting into professional wrestling. How does that conversation go?
So my mom is probably my biggest fan. She was all about it, and she's the one that took me to these shows, and we would go together, and she's the one that took me to training. So she was fully on board. My dad was hesitant at first.
Your daddy's little girl, right?
Yeah. He saw how much confidence I gained and how many more friends and even family that I gained from this. My brother, he's quiet most of the time. So sometimes I can't get a reaction out of him, but when I do, I know that I'm doing it right.
Right. I get it. So I don't know this. I'm asking you because I didn't hear anybody screaming crazily because I had 2-to-1 media in my ear. They there for the first night and everything?
Oh yeah, I had them. I had grandparents. I had friends. I had a bunch of people there.
Nice.
Which also added to the nerves.
Of course. Do you think it would have been easier if you were in New Jersey wrestling, and nobody was there? Do you think it would have been a little easier for you?
Honestly, yeah.
And then let them see maybe match 10 once the nerves are all shook out and everything.
Yeah, that's what some of my friends were like. Sorry I missed the first one. I was like, that's okay. It's probably not going to be the best one anyways. I'm going to get better as it goes. So
practice. Even working, yeah. And that was my next question. Do you go back on the IWC network or Fight TV? I'm getting them all in, Plumber, by the way. And watch that at all?
Go back and watch my old matches?
You definitely your first one. Do you go back and critique from now until what you're doing in RWA? And we'll get to all of these organizations that you've been sort of kind of in. But do you go back and watch them and say, oh yeah, I definitely did that wrong or better than now or whatever?
I haven't gone back and watched my first match, but I do watch clips from the earlier matches. And I'm like, oh, I can definitely see the growth there and what I was thinking. I'm doing better, hiding what I'm thinking or different details like that.
I told you off air before we hit the record button that, I'm behind the camera that night and I just saw something and I'm like, damn, Katie's really going to, puns coming, shine in the professional wrestling world, that need to keep an eye on her and, keep her up. And you have, Catie, from that first day, what is it, Rollister? Is that how we say it? Is that what it's called? Where the ice arena is it Rollister?
Oh, it's Ross Shaver.
Yeah, that. Yeah. Thanks. From there to where you are now, and this is just because of your hard work and dedication, leaps and bounds, gal. Leaps and bounds, and it's amazing what you've done in such a short time.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I do.
Listen, young in your career, you're already on ROH. That's pretty freaking awesome, right?
Yeah, it's still surreal, honestly.
How does that phone call come about, and how do you get to ROH, and then explain the feels for that as well?
I actually got a DM on Instagram about 2 days before when I was doing homework. So my first thought was, is this real?
Right. Scam alert coming around. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And then I became friends with Ashley D'Amboise whenever she was at IWC, and I texted her and I was like, this is for real, right? And she's like, yes. Go for it.
That's
so
awesome.
I was so nervous. I got that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening.
What did you notice from, and I'm not knocking crowds because IWC's got an amazing crowd, right? Along with the other ones that you're at as well. But I know IWC verbatim. Amazing crowds. How was that compared to an ROH, like the whole process and everything? Tell us about that experience a little bit.
So it was after they had filmed Collision. So a lot of people did leave, but there was still a decent amount of people there and they were pretty into it. I even had some people chanting for me, which was very like surreal, again, to use that word, because didn't know, even though it wasn't far from like home, I didn't know if people would know me or not. So that was a little crazy.
We travel. Us crazy wrestling fans travel, right?
Yeah.
Catering was probably a lot better in ROH than Justin Plummer's pocket, right?
It was pretty good.
Yeah. I'm going to get a text as soon as this airs tonight, by the way. He's going to kill me, but that's all right. All right, so I want to know, this is where we do the comparison, and we'll bounce back around to other people that you've locked up in the ring with to throw them under the bus as well. But who is Catie Brite? And I pause and say AJ Lee. I say Alexa Bliss. And then get ready. You might backhand me on this one. But you're Rainbow Brite as well. You know who, right?
Yeah, I've heard that one. I've heard that one plenty of times.
So how close am I to real AJ and Alexa? I see, wholeheartedly. And then just the gimmick and the wear, the gear and everything gives me the Rainbow Brite thing. But how close am I with AJ and Alexa?
Very close with AJ and Alexa. Yeah, they like spot on with those ones.
If you could pull one more, then, since I jokingly said Rainbow Brite, who would be, a third that you really, beg, borrow, and steal, because wrestling does that, from them?
There's kind of two that I'm going between right now.
Oh, it's all right. Make it two then.
Lisa Rhea or Paige.
Okay.
And Liv Morgan.
Oh, why the hell did I miss Liv? Liv's an easy one, too. Shame on me. Shame on me. All right. I get it. How far back tape study do you do? Because I know Chris sometimes makes you guys watch matches and this, that, and the other, but on your own, would you go back to watch maybe like a Wendy Richter or even farther back, Moolah or anybody like that? Do you do way back, or you just kind of maybe the 80s and forwards or 90s and forward?
I honestly don't go that far back.
Really?
Yeah, to be honest, because I also half the time don't have the time to go and find like other stuff. Like I'll watch the network a lot of the time, like WWE stuff on Peacock and all that, and I'll go back and watch my favorites and try to pull even more from them than what I already have. Okay.
Which is not bad, because listen, and I said this, what Paige has done, somebody has done before. What Alexa has done, somebody has done before. They just spin it themselves, and you're taking some of their stuff and spinning it to yours as well. And it makes, because every gimmick has been done, and this is no shine or malice on anybody out there. Every gimmick has been done at least once. It's just spinning it into your own, right?
Yeah.
So where did you come up with the shining, what did I say at the beginning? The shining light of professional wrestling, essentially. God, Mark. It's like I drank before this podcast or something. Where does that come about then with the Catie Brite?
So the whole thing that I wanted to get across is like a pop star vibe, because being in theater, that's kind of like where I pulled that from, because I love to sing and I love to perform. So I figured that fits with the colors and the performance out in the ring too. Like, be vocal, be like, say whatever you want to say. And actually, I didn't even come up with the shining light.
All right. Well, then we have to say who did. Was it Chris?
Chris came up with, he gave me the nickname Light Bright in training because that's what my hair reminded him of at first.
Yes.
And then he proceeds to ask me if I know what it is, and yes, I know what it is.
Good.
I had one.
Oh, all right. Well, yeah, because they've brought them back, you know, for youngsters like you. So,
yeah, well, I had one from little, so yeah.
Okay.
But Zach Nystrom actually helped me decide on Bright as the last name, and Dave Kitch helped me, or he came up with the Shining Light.
I like it. I like it. Giving props to everybody out there today.
Yeah.
Look at you. All right, let's take a hot second away from, because you've already jumped into this, which is good, from wrestling, and let's find out a little bit more about Catie outside the ring. You said you like to sing. Are we going to get a song here on Can Crushers that you're going to bellow into right now?
Maybe not today.
That should have been, yeah. But what do you like singing?
I didn't warm up enough today.
Oh, touche. I have to give you enough time, and it's going to be worked into the contract now, right? What's your go-to song that you like to sing, and what type of music do you like? And tell me your nerd stuff.
Telling me to pick one song is like, there's so many. I like musical theater, but I go from listening to like musical theater to pop music to Disney to rock music. There's a wide range. You have a wide,
yeah. If you brought Bach into this, yes, okay.
Well, let's say some of my favorites, like Demi Lovato is one of my favorites, so it'd probably be something from her.
What else do you like besides music? Do you have any hidden talents or anything?
I do a lot of crafting. That's like rhinestones and everything.
Oh, I was going to say, are you a crocheter already?
I'm not, no, but I like to paint. So.
Oh, nice. Maybe commission you to paint something for Can Crushers then, because I've already had somebody. Listen, everybody knows that Jack Pollock designed the Can Crusher logo, so we might as well just throw him out there too. This is like a whole freaking IWC reunion today, throwing everybody out right now. How did you get into painting? Was it just something from childhood?
I think basically, yeah, we always did like little crafts and stuff with our grandparents. Like me and my brother do crafts with like my grandparents and my mom and stuff, and there'd be these little painting kits. We've done that like forever, so I kind of just always did it.
Big into pop and everything, which kind of, are you a video gamer at all as well? I know you're busy as hell and you really don't have time to do much with your real life outside of professional wrestling. But when you get a moment just to do nothing, what do you do?
Well, I also play guitar along with singing. So when I have the time, I like to sit down and just play a bunch of songs and sing and hang out with my cat.
Nice.
That's like the most relaxing thing.
So those are really your mellow days off. After, a big match, the next day you're home, you just want to relax and not worry about homework. We're putting that on the sidebar real quick for a little bit. Yeah. You're just going to like really mellow and like jam out. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. 2 stupid questions for you because you knew these were coming. You don't know what they are. If you were a Barbie, what Barbie would you be?
Gosh. I don't even know. I was not much of a Barbie kid, believe it or not.
You threw it right at me already. It's pop star Barbie. Is that? Yeah, and I'm not saying you were Barbie, and I'm not putting any stereotypical stuff on you, but I thought she's a pop star. She would be pop star Barbie. I thought that was a layup for you. It's okay.
I only had one Barbie growing up, so.
I get it. I had none. I had wrestling action figures. They weren't dolls. Guys got mad back then. They're not dolls. They're dolls. Listen, they're dolls nowadays. What TV show would you be the star of?
Gosh.
I told you they're stupid, Catie. They're stupid.
Yeah, I have one that fits right along with everything else that I've said, and that is Hannah Montana.
Didn't think that. Perfect. Perfect. I love it.
Was also one of my favorites when I was growing up.
What do you like, Miley now?
I do, yeah.
Okay. I love Miley. I loved Hannah Montana too, especially like when Ethan was watching all of Disney and everything. Yeah, it was fun to watch when he was watching it, but Miley now, I just think rocks it. Like kicks ass and takes names.
Yes. She just, everybody, like people like that I've liked since they were on Disney, I followed their careers like up until now. I still like all of them.
Wouldn't Miley be your number one off of Disney, or is there somebody else?
Well, like I said, Demi's probably one of my favorites. I feel like she would kind of take the spot, or the Jonas Brothers would take that top spot.
Oh, okay. Nothing against the Jonas Brothers. I like some of their stuff, but I like Demi a lot better. I really do. But it's okay. I told you they were stupid, Catie. They're completely stupid all the time. Because it really like gets into your mind. You're like, why the hell is he asking me this on a wrestling podcast?
Well, anything to talk about Disney stuff, I'll do it. So.
All right, well then let's go there. What's your favorite Disney movie?
We talking any of them?
Any of them. Yes.
Well, High School Musical was definitely like the top series for me, like especially the second one. I've talked about this a couple times with people before. Sharpay is like a main inspiration because she's that pop star,
right?
A self-proclaimed pop star, but
yeah. High School Musical. See, how about then maybe like the cartoon? And I'll give you High School Musical. It was good. It was. I don't know if it was one of my. I was more of a Victorious girl or guy, not a girl. Jesus, it's going downhill here on Can Crushers. Or I was a big fan of Charlie. What was the little baby Charlie? You know who I'm talking.
Yeah.
What was Charlie growing up, or what was? Oh my God, I can't even think of that. Whatever.
Good Luck Charlie.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You probably said that. Yeah, I love Good Luck Charlie. I love Good Luck Charlie. I watch that on repeats now.
No, I like that one. I like Victorious. Like I said, wide range of music. There's a wide range of stuff I watch too. So.
Okay. Trainwreck has happened. Let's pull this back into professional wrestling. If you could change one thing, this is the hardest question that we ask here on Can Crushers, and you know it. If you could change something in professional wrestling, listen, you've been in it now for a couple years, and you've seen maybe some ups, some downs in and around wrestling. What's one thing that you could say, man, I wish that was not in wrestling at all? What would you get rid of?
I feel like the bias against, like, with men being like the main.
Preach, sister, because I'm right behind you.
Just not having as much representation in women's wrestling. That's like the main thing.
Yeah. Listen, I can't wait until Friday night when Billy Starks and Athena rip down the house on ROH, and that's going to be match of the year contender. I'm already putting it up there that it's going to be that freaking good.
I am excited to see that.
Listen, we're fast forwarding. It's 2024. We don't need just one women's match on the card anymore. If there's 8 matches, why can't it be 4 and 4? And if you want to be that much of a dick, and Mom, I'm sorry that you're listening to Catie's podcast. Mark is coming out. Make it 5 and 3. It should not be 6 and 2 or anything. There's enough women in and around every area that there should be more women's matches. Listen, we had hashtag book more tag team matches in and around Pittsburgh for the longest time. Now we need to hashtag book more women's matches, because the litany of names that's come just now, Plumber's really going to hate me. The litany of names that have come just from IWC, dude, you have a MFN roster of superstars, including Catie. Book them more. I'm off my pedestal now.
It's funny you say that hashtag, because I started putting that in the hashtags that I post.
You did?
on Instagram. Yes, I did.
It needs to be more. And it's not, I'm apologizing now, it's not just IWC, it's everywhere. So it needs to happen more. And maybe there's a new era coming around that everybody should see that soon in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, it even still happens like at the level of WWE. Like,
yeah,
they have all the talent, and it was getting better, and then they took a few steps backwards.
Yeah. So you bring up WWE a lot. Do you trickle over when you have a minute to watch a lot of the people that you know on AEW or Impact or anything like that as well?
I do, yeah. If there's somebody that I know or I definitely want to see, like a certain match that I've heard about, I'll make sure I watch those.
Right. All right, so we're still talking IWC, and we'll transition to RWA here in a hot second. But somebody that you've shared the ring with for many a times, now the champion in IWC, Miss Catie Arquette, Mrs. Catie Arquette now, I apologize. Got a title. You've had a title shot before. Do we see, Catie coming back? Catie, coming back and punching the other Catie in the face and taking something that you have earned soon?
I would like to go for that title again, for sure.
Right? Love to see it.
Thing, but I am always ready. I'm always there at those shows, so I'm always ready.
That reset button is right around the corner. That's a huge surprise. Boom, Catie Brite comes out. New champ. Mrs. Arquette, watch out.
They took the words out of my mouth there. No, kidding.
You just had a little bit of back and forth recently, too, with Honey Badger as well. And rumors are you retired her.
Yeah, she said that was going to be her last match. Whether or not that is going to stay that way, I don't know. But as of now, yeah.
You have to watch, though. She's a honey badger, right? Sneaky, can do things. I worry about what's coming up next because honey badger's that way. You earned another title shot that your title shot was taken away from you, essentially, in RWA, that you had to earn it again, which is blasphemy. But now you'll be taking on Jessie Belle Smothers for a title that should be around your waist soon, right?
Yes. Second matchup.
And you should have the title by now.
I should. I had it, and then they took it away.
Which is crap.
Exactly.
Absolute crap. All right, so we talked about what changes in wrestling you'd like, and I supported you. Besides Rosa telling you, hey, go to Iron City, what is some of the best advice that you've gotten backstage from maybe a Jessie, maybe a Catie Arquette, maybe a Honey Badger, maybe, we've listed a ton of names. Who's given you some great advice and it's really stuck with you?
I don't know if I could think of one person, just because at most shows I try to take in, I mean, that is part of the advice, is make sure you listen and take in what other people have to say, like mouth shut, ears open, is like the main thing. And I know that a lot of that was Chris teaching us early on in training, like giving good advice at the end of every training session, just to be prepared to be backstage.
Yeah, and he probably also said don't make a fool out of yourself when you go someplace else because you're representing us as well, right?
Yeah.
I've heard that before. Yeah.
Yes, he definitely has said that.
So you go in, you shake hands, you kiss babies, you make everything good, and you just you just listen, because you never know when that opportunity happens via DM, like you said. Like that's huge.
Yeah, that's it. The main thing is listen, but make sure you stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself.
Right. we're trucking right along. So what are some goals for 2024? And listen, I know you're going to say you want to get signed, this, that, and the other, but listen, Rome wasn't built in a day, right, Catie?
Yeah.
So let's really get it down to 2024. What do you want to accomplish this next coming year?
So in the next year, my number one goal is to hold a title for longer than a minute and be able to go to different companies and just be more consistent at other companies.
Do you have like a wish list for travel in 2024 to maybe head over to, I don't know, I'm throwing, if you've been there, I apologize, to Ohio or Kentucky or New York, or, do you have a couple states that you'd like to cross off?
I'm not 100% sure. I know I do want to get over to Ohio for sure. I had talked to somebody about trying to get up to Greektown Wrestling as well.
Yeah, that's somebody. He's a pretty nice guy, isn't he?
So I think those would be like the main ones, but I don't have a ton of traveling on my list because of school.
Right. And you got what, 2 more years? Am I right? Did I stalk you that much?
About a year and a half now.
See, I rounded. So, yeah. And then after that, everything's wide open. You're ready to go.
Yeah, it should be a lot easier to be able to do stuff after that.
Is there one place in your, and I mean like worldwide, is there one place in your wrestling career that you want to check off your list at some point? I mean, I'm not saying WWE, AEW, I'm saying like a country or something.
I honestly have not thought about it.
I think you would fit in great over at Stardom. Just throwing that out there. Pops, the whole, listen, you pinpointed yourself perfectly. The whole pop star, pop singer thing, that's huge. I think you would fit in great over there. I mean, again, we're waiting until you're out of school to do this, because school's always more important than anything. I will tell everybody, I tell my son that all the time. In that 2 years, boom, Stardom gives you that call. You're not even thinking about it, right? You're just going.
Yeah, that would be a great opportunity.
I'm just telling you, kid, you got it. You'd be fine. Side note now we're still sticking to 2024. Is there anybody on your list? Because I know wrestlers do this. Hey, in 2024, I'd love to wrestle Ray Lynn or Britt or Catie again, or is there in the independents? Is there people that you'd like to knock off your list just to share the ring with?
It's funny. I knew you were going to ask that, and I was trying to think about it earlier, but I have not wrestled Ray Lynn yet, even though she's been back at IWC. That's one opponent that I have not gotten in the ring with yet.
There you go. That's one. Anybody else? Of course, Katie Arquette, because you're going to get that title from her.
Yeah. Danny Moe, for sure.
Yeah.
Because we've trained together, but we've never had a match. And I think it's been a year and a half, almost 2 years, that we've said stuff like that. So I think that's definitely another one.
You and Danny would tear down the house. You and Rylan would be amazing as well. Really, really. But you and Danny, I think, would be freaking awesome. All right. So we kind of talked about everything. What are long-term goals then? I mean, now we're out of the school. We're out of everything. You have schooling in your back pocket. Is the WWE, is AEW, is Impact, or is that's like you have schooling as a backup, correct? Wrestling is where you're going forward from here on out, no matter what.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's hard because it's been changing of what I like thinking, especially going through school and seeing how that is taking up my time and the balance. Before I said I wanted to do WWE, but right now, honestly, I'm not sure.
WWE's 350 days a year, right?
Yeah. That's the other component, is the time.
You're very family oriented. I know this just from speaking for you for, an hour roughly now.
Yeah.
So that means a lot to have that time in your back pocket to hang mom, dad, family down the line and everything like that. That means a lot to you. So an Impact or an AEW or something like that where you have those extra days built in off is pretty awesome. You're not ever not saying no to those, right?
No, I'm not saying no to anything right now. I'm just not sure where I want to go right now.
And you have plenty of time. Everything can change overnight. Listen, Tony Khan calls tomorrow and says, "Hey, Catie, I'm giving you $1 million contract. When are you coming to Jacksonville?" I'm leaving right now, Tony, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is one of my favorite questions, and I know that I'm going to ask this. When you get that dream match, who's it going to be against, where's it going to be, and what stipulation are you going to have?
And it could be anybody, right?
Anybody.
I'd have to go with AJ.
Yeah.
AJ, to be specific. I feel like a submission match, since that's what I took, like, inspiration from her with her submission. And then where would it? Do you mean like what was the last?
Like a city, yeah. Like you don't have to say WrestleMania 10 or any specific, anything like that. But a city that you'd really like that match to happen in.
I feel like Pittsburgh because it's home.
Yeah, PPG Arena would be fine.
Yeah.
Or do you want to have it at Max Court?
I say PPG probably.
Peterson's all right too. Now I'm just throwing them all out there, but anywhere in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I get it. All right, this is your time now. Tell us where you're going to be, what's going on, merch, if you have any socials and all that, so people can jump on board and ride this light with you.
So I have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all at Catie Brite Wrestling on Twitter, or X now. I will hopefully be coming to more companies in 2024. I will be around at IWC, RWA, hopefully Rise coming up. I might be back in Erie soon. I have t-shirts, bracelets, stickers. I always have them with me at shows. So if you see me there, just ask. If you want to reach out, I can always have them at the show for you. And just stay tuned to new stuff. And as I get new stuff, I'll post it and just stay updated with me.
Catie really is great on her socials, by the way, too. She's not anybody that's, when she's got to cut a promo, she cuts a promo. When she's got to do something and promote, you are. When you have to promote something like wrestlers should do, you do your due diligence. It's not like, hey, I'm just showing up, getting my hot dog and a handshake, and I'm leaving. You help the promoters and everything do this, so this is great. So you're a good person to have in the back pocket as a wrestler because you also help promote, which everybody doesn't do.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Did I forget anything that you want to talk about? Did you want to make a huge announcement? Anything? And I don't know this now. I'm just making stuff up. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Well, one thing I will say is a week and a half ago or so now, I got to meet Dolph Ziggler and Nick Nemeth, and I mentioned that I was wrestling, so that's why Ohio is on my list to hopefully be around and get in his view so he can see my stuff more. So hopefully we can get there.
What? That's awesome. No, congratulations there.
Yeah,
you rubbing shoulders with Dolph.
Yeah, he's part of my top 3 favorites, so that was like one of my favorite experiences ever. He was such a nice guy.
I'm going to ask this, and I mean this as a complete name mark. Is there anybody, well, clearly Dolph may have a little bit. Is there anybody that when you meet around from like seminars or others on like the indies that you've seen, do you still kind of have that little mark out moment?
I definitely did that like with Dolph when I was there. Even people like Brit, which I've met her multiple times and she's been around, but even sometimes I'm like, that's really cool that she's here and like she knows who I am and like say hi. Like,
I get it. Yeah. It's cool. I listen, I do it when, like, we know of each other. We've never said, hey, Mark, high five, Catie, but we know each other. We could probably pinpoint each other out of a crowd. But, like, when I see you, I'm like, Catie, oh, my God, I'm a hugger. So I want to give you a hug. I want to say hi. I do that even though I just talked to you for an hour. Like, I love people, and I love people that, one, come on the show, talk about their experience, how they got into wrestling and everything. So it means a lot to help you do whatever I can, and you help us, and da-da-da-da-da. It's just, wrestling is a family across the board, I feel, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, all right, Catie, this has been a blast. I can't wait to see you. I hope you're on that reset button, and you give me a high five in the front row, and all of that, and IWC. I wish you well at RWA. Maybe you should be having 2 titles sooner than later, but baby steps.
Yeah.
All right, dear. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too.
Hey, this is Jack Pollock, the IWC Hardcore Icon. You're listening to Can Crushers podcast. If I like it, you should too.
Ladies and gentlemen, the shining light of professional wrestling, Catie Brite. How about having Rosa Mendez in your back pocket to tell you about Iron City Wrestling Academy? Whew! Did not know that. Guys, honestly, I've followed Catie the whole time. She's been at IWC, some RWA. Seeing her on ROH against Diamante was really cool, and she's just going for championships. Super excited for her. And listen, I'm telling you, I want to see her. Mrs. Arquette, I'm telling you, to see Catie Brite come out of that reset button, boom, and be the new IWC heavyweight champion, that would be really cool. And Jessie Bell, RWA, it could be 2 belts Catie, or of course I wasn't going to, double champ Catie, champ Catie, champ Catie is what it's going to be. Clearly, it took me a little bit of, you heard stumbling a little bit during the podcast today. But she understands. I like this. That, Rome wasn't built in a day. She's got goals. She's got things she wants to take care of before completely jumping into professional wrestling. She's living that lifestyle, and she's a pop star. She really is. I'm telling you, next time she comes on, and Catie, I know you're going to listen back to this. Next time you come on, you have to have your guitar, and you have to sing for us, because that's the only way you're going to be able to come back on Can Crushers, because somebody is going to do that on Can Crushers. Somebody's going to cut a melody for us. Somebody. I hope. Maybe, just maybe, Catie, you can create our next intro then. That would be awesome. Now I'm just getting a lot of wishes going. Christmas is not here, so these could all be Can Crusher wishes for 2024. Bold predictions, maybe. Guys, a lot going on Can Crushers here in the next couple weeks. Don't forget, the Crushies is right around the corner as we get set to announce the categories and everything next week, and then the following week is the Crushies. So pay attention to those, that you can get your Crushie award winners in so you can be on air as well, and all of that cool stuff. Guys, thank you for listening all the time. Without you listening, Can Crushers wouldn't be here. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.